Welcome to the We're Good podcast, where we are celebrating the everyday brilliance of people working toward a more positive world. If you're looking for the good that's taking place around you, you've come to the right place. What if an organization created to get kids off the streets and teach them a trade changed lives forever?
And I'll never forget when we went to court. His mom was scared, he was scared. No one knew what was gonna happen.
Today on the We're Good podcast, you'll meet the man who was sitting in that courtroom and whose trade apprenticeship program is transforming not just teenagers' lives, but a whole community. In this episode, you'll find out why Roberto calls this the year we find out if we got it right. Today's We're Good podcast episode is brought to you by Clark Construction. Clark Construction is proud to invest in the next generation of skilled tradespeople and support Cornerstone Craftsman's mission to provide youth with the essential skills, confidence, and community they need, both in life and in the construction industry. Today on the We're Good podcast. Welcome back to the We're Good podcast. I'm Leanne Necessary Brownlee, your host, and we are so happy to be back on location, this time at Cornerstone Craftsman in Alexandria, Virginia. And I have to tell you, this mission had my heartstrings right from the minute that I met Roberto Gomez, who is the founder and the executive director here of Cornerstone Craftsman. Thank you so much for having us out today.
Thank you.
And of course, we're in the Career Center right now.
Yes, we are.
We're going to go down to the workshop later, and we definitely want everyone to be watching on our YouTube channel because they're going to get some amazing behind-the-scenes video. And the workshop is where you will find one of the students, and one of them's joining us right now. Thank you so much for being with us. Keon Jones, who's joining us today. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Oh, we appreciate it. And you're ready to go to work, right? Because
Yes.
class starts soon.
Yes.
Okay, well, we can't wait to hear how much that you love this program. Roberto, it's just so wonderful being here. And as I said, we're going to go downstairs and meet a lot more students in a little while. But can you just give us an idea? When you and I talked earlier, I think it was so interesting that you were in construction. And I have to say, I have to tell our audience, the reason it had my heart is because my dad was in construction as well. And he grew up in a single parent home, put himself through college. And so, but always loved being that brick and stone mason. He was a school teacher, but he loved that craft, and you love the craft. And so when you and I were talking, this is just such an amazing mission and nonprofit that you have going on. Can you tell us about what brought you to this point? I think you said at one point you were kind of one night asking God all the whys.
Yeah, that's right. When I was Keon's age and the age of many of our pre-apprentices in our program, I didn't really know what my future was going to look like. And to be honest, I really didn't care. Based upon like how I grew up and having to deal with a lot of trauma and lack of resources and lack of guidance, you name it. But the trades, as you mentioned, was a big part of my life, and it kind of saved my life. And what that meant for me was it allowed me to learn a skill that eventually turned the door to open my own company, right? So I walked through that door and started to become successful in my own right. And then to your point, when you're talking about the kind of why God moment, I had this epiphany. I'll never forget it. I was laying in bed. I was getting ready to send a project agreement to a client. And all of a sudden, I started to think to myself, man, I have a lot of professional experience now. I have a lot of lived experience now. If I could time travel and save myself, would it work? I believe that it would, right? Like I believe genuinely that if I could go back and talk to myself at 12, 13, 14, 15, I would listen, right? I have lived experience. I would look like somebody that looked like me. And I also would have the professional experience to say, hey, listen, I can teach you something that'll change your life, right? And that's exactly what happened. I stopped working immediately in that moment when all those whys started to make sense in regards to why God would allow something like that to happen. And I knew that was to kind of morph me into somebody that could go back and disrupt systems. And that's what I'm doing now. And I'm doing that by being the message and the messenger all in one. And that message is like, look, college doesn't have to be the only way to success. The military doesn't have to be the only way to success. And you can have anything you want in life. And right now is a perfect time through the trades because they're paying so much and they're so easy to get into that anyone can do it. And at the end of the day, what we all want is a, decent, if not high quality of life. And what better way to do that than learn how to work with your hands, so.
What were you seeing that made you think, I really want to hire some of these young people? Because you were in your own right. You had your own construction company.
Right. Yeah, I didn't have to do any of this. I didn't have to, but
Right.
you know, I started to think to myself, with everything that I know now, if I only knew it then and took it serious, I'd be a multimillionaire by now. And I could do anything I want in life. I still can, right? But imagine if I only had known this at their age when I was told that I had to go to college or, you know, conform to these systems that look like success while no one was telling me can make $175,000 a year being an electrician, right? And what that looked like was, I mean, it wasn't like I started to identify the need in that moment. I mean, growing up like that, you see it all the time, right? I live in this city. I go everywhere there is to go, and you see lack of opportunity for people that look and sound and live like I did. And I knew that I wanted to do something about that. So that's kind of how the whole thing developed. It really was just me recognizing that I had some very valuable life skills to teach, as well as some lived experience to talk about and connect with people about, and let them know, like, your life doesn't have to look like this if you don't want it to. You just gotta work in a different direction, and I'll show you that direction. So
Yeah. And you started with just a few people,
that's right.
right?
Oh yeah, I mean that, and you know, I started with a few of those guys, and they were Keon's friends. Yeah.
Yes, I have a lot of mutual friends that was already previously in the program before I joined.
And is that how you found out about it,
Yeah.
Keon?
Yes, that's how I found out about Cornerstone Craftsman and a little bit of research I did on my own.
What were you researching?
I was researching like construction jobs for when I turned 18 or before I turned 18.
And so when you read about Cornerstone Craftsman, what caught your attention?
When I was doing the research on Cornerstone Craftsman, I already heard previous good things about the community here through mutual friends and other reviews I heard about Cornerstone. From Judge Sherlock is one of them, and a couple more adults.
That's great. And it was Judge Sherlock?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell me more about that?
Uh, I previously met Judge Sherlock when I was going through a court system during hard times, and he referred me because he seen that I was already interested in the trades, and I was already thinking about going to trade school.
That's wonderful. And what have you found here that you love to do? What's your favorite thing?
So my favorite thing so far is probably the electrical work or learning about framing and the plastering and painting walls and stuff like that.
And I mean, Roberto, what do you feel like when you hear Keon saying, he was looking for you? He was looking for this program. What if it hadn't been here?
That's exactly what I guess I feel like when I hear those kind of things. I mean, because a lot of times I don't necessarily talk to the guys about how, like, what this is doing for them. The focus is like, let me help you develop a skill, let me pay you, let me help you get your license, let me do this, let me do that. It's not so much like, how does it make you feel? But when I hear those things, it makes me feel like I knew that the path would appear, and it did, and it was divine in nature. And that's why we're here. That's why we're able to be in this, two floor of a 4-story building where we have a career and education center and a training center. It started with me taking a couple kids to paint in people's homes. Keon probably has never heard this story before, but I mean, you have, and I mean, I guess you're here now. When I first started this, when that moment occurred, and that when we talked about the kind of the why connection, when I started calling to, departments in the city, Parks and Rec and Court Services and these different places trying to recruit young people from, I eventually found myself, tabling through my construction company at youth block parties and, you name it, right? And trying to get people to come ask who I was so I can get young people to be interested in the trades. And when that happened with the first 5 kids that we talked about, I had told them that I was going to teach them the trades and gave them my information, and they started contacting me, asking me when we were going to start. They wanted to work. And I think, I mentioned this to you, I didn't really have a plan at that point. It was more or less like, all right, I told these kids I'm going to teach them the trades. Now I got to start desperately trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. And then, I started calling people and just saying, hey, I got these 5 young people I want to teach the trades. Can we come into your home and paint a room? Do you need anything done? If you cover the cost of the paint, we'll provide the labor for free. But not the kids weren't providing free labor. I was paying the kids at the same time we were doing the work.
I started to
free.
say, right,
So,
this was you were losing money on
all
these
around the board.
things,
Yeah.
but you saw what was needed.
Yes, I did. I saw that what was needed is like a way to understand that you can earn your way out of whatever situation you're in if only you know how, right? And I think that there's not enough of those opportunities, and not to mention not just trying to tell people, hey, come over here and I'll teach you something. It's like, listen, let me pay you for your time to come learn something, which is really what made the difference, because we've found this great way to incentivize people and take responsibility for their own skill sets developing. And it means a lot. I mean, there's the association of even coming somewhere and earning money, which will take you a long way when you enter the workforce, because at the end of the day, you know that there's a paycheck waiting for you, right? So.
But also, and I know that it didn't happen easily.
Yeah, I did a lot. So when we started running out of places to take
Because you
young
had people calling you, right? Saying, I would like for you to have my child.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Right?
So like how Keon heard about us, like there had, Trey and the guys had been telling other people about what we were doing, and they started calling and asking, like, can I have a job? And at that time I didn't really have the money to pay more kids and provide transportation and pay for food and buy materials. It was a lot. But yeah, so we did get a lot of calls, and I started kind of just developing a wait list just intuitively. Like, I'm gonna write these kids' names down. When I have the time or money to bring them in, I'll call them back.
Yeah.
And yeah, that we got to the point where I think I was at like 10 or 12 kids by that point. I eventually got to 14. And then, I kind of like ran out of spaces to take them to. So I started like just taking them to different events in the city, just incentivizing everything we were doing, but helping them engage in the community, learn about different things, taking them to city council meetings, all that kind of stuff. But that was only after I got really desperate and signed up to speak at city council. Yeah, because I didn't know what I was going to do, and I knew that I had to keep this thing going, right? I'm not a quitter. And plus it was working. My theories were working. And I had a very healthy amount of anger for the systems that were failing. So driven by the need and the anger that I felt connected to, because these are the systems that failed me, right? I needed to do something about that. So I signed up to speak at city council, and pretty much told them what I was doing. Like, hey, I'm just this guy with a business in the city. I'm teaching these kids the trades. I need your help. And it went over really well. And I started getting connected like that. I mean, I still wasn't a nonprofit, so there was nothing anybody could do to give me money. So it was like 3 years of self-funding this entire initiative. I mean, materials, food, pay, I mean, you name it. Anything you could think of that has to do with running something like this, just paying for it. But it was worth it, it was worth it, because, we started to be able to do things like Keon has mentioned that he was in the court system. There's other kids that are here that have been involved in the court system in the past, or are presently involved in the court system, or may at some point be involved in the court system. And everything that we were doing, it was just about showing up and providing opportunities. So we were even there doing things like that, advocating for young people, getting them off of probation and out of the court system. And it was all really cool to watch.
And you were actually, you had shared that there was a moment where you were there and it really made a difference it makes a difference for a lot of kids. Keon's already said that, but you were there when it really made a difference on a sentencing.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's been more than one time, but the story, the biggest story, like the most influential story, was one of our young people who was facing, at the time, I think he was 16, and then the judge was looking at sentencing him like 5 years to juvenile prison. So he would essentially spent his teen years into his early adulthood incarcerated. And I actually got a call from a probation officer. So back up a little bit, and we talk about getting to know the young people we were working with and their families, and being asked to come to court dates. We also got to know the courts. At first, they didn't know who we were. They certainly didn't know who I was. Neither did their probation officers. In fact, they were like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, he clearly doesn't look related to this juvenile. Why is he even here? And then the parents would have to say, oh, this is their mentor or whatever. Yeah, we built a relationship with the courts, and what that looked like was a probation officer called me one time and said, hey, I got this kid. He's incarcerated right now. I'd like you to write a letter of acceptance into your program so I can present it to the judge with his attorney, see if we can get him out on bond. Now, this was a probation officer who I built a relationship with, advocating for a kid who was incarcerated, which to me said a lot about the kid he was trying to advocate for, because typically probation officers are not so enthusiastic to call somebody and say, help me get this kid out of jail, right? So I was touched by that.
Right.
And I wrote the letter, showed up to court, judge let him out on bond, and we started to help this kid slowly rebuild his life. I mean, he had a lot of issues going on at home that nobody really knew about, and the charges that he was locked up for were violent. And through our engagement with him and through the opportunities we provided, and actually just through him standing up for himself and being a part of the program and just doing things for himself on his own accord when no one was even looking, just really wanting better for himself, he built a pretty strong portfolio of reasons the judge should not incarcerate him for 5 years. I mean, and I would say that we had a large part in that, but also this kid decided to get up and stand on his own, right? He had people in his corner that were walking him through life and teaching him things and helping him to self-reflect on his anger issues and all of these things. And I'll never forget when we went to court, his mom was scared, he was scared. No one knew what was gonna happen. The PO didn't want him to go to jail, so the PO was gonna ask him to lock him up, but the Commonwealth's attorney was still trying to advocate for him to be incarcerated for all that time. And this young man had written a letter to the judge, and the judge read it, and then asked the young man to speak on his own behalf. And he just starts, talking about all the things he's reflected on and all the things he's been doing and all the things he was finally proud about. And it was amazing to watch. And the judge asked me if I had anything to say, and I did. And the judge, it was incredible. The judge didn't say anything and said, "I'll be right back," and went back to his chambers and came out and had this bracelet, I guess he gives to kids every so often, like once in a blue moon kind of thing, and it says, "You're awesome," right? So he gave this kid this bracelet, and he said, "I want you to know I don't give these out very often." And apparently he doesn't. After he said that, I'd done some research and asked some people, and he told the kid, "I'm not going to send you to prison. I'm going to give you a chance." And it was like his mom took a really deep breath of a sigh of relief. And here's this kid not knowing that was going to happen. And the judge, had said to me, "Mr. Gomez, thank you so much for providing me an alternative to what I was going to do, because prior to this there was none. I was going to send him to juvenile prison, and that kid's doing great. I mean, he just pulled up in his new car. You've seen the video of him in his new car, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got a Hellcat or something. He's making a lot of money. He's got a great car now, and he's doing well for himself. And that truly was a life-changing moment for him and for me too, and I think for everybody in that courtroom.
I mean, that's just amazing. And as you said, giving them an alternative, giving them a safe place to come.
Mm-hmm.
And they can come in and they get a meal, right?
Sometimes too, it depends on what day it is. We'll order whatever, right? We'll talk about what the group wants to eat. We'll order food. I mentioned to you, yeah, we get groceries here in a partnership with Alive in the city of Alexandria. We get over 900 pounds of groceries distributed to the youth and their family if they need them. As you saw, we have a washer and dryer downstairs. If anybody needs access to utilize our laundry services, obviously they can do that. Also, the ability to help them get work-ready documents. We're paying for driving school here now, so they leave with a valid driver's license. You name it. So it's really
also OSHA.
Yeah, OSHA. Yeah, we get them industry recognized and valued credentials. Yup, OSHA 10, CPR first aid. We're working on OSHA 30. We're considering what else we can get under the age of 18, because the whole concept here is how do we centralize resources so people can accept them in a dignified way to be as successful as possible in the skilled trades, and all while getting them everything they need, from opening a bank account to, like I said, the work-ready documents, to the certifications, to the professional training, to the life skills. Everything centralized here is what it looks like now.
It's amazing. And so, Keon, can you tell me what it's like when you come in? What's a day like here at Cornerstone Craftsman? If our audience is kind of wondering, what is it like when you get here, Keon?
A day in Cornerstone Craftsman is, we typically, first thing we do, we come in, get our PPE gear on, our safety gear. Then we look on the board, or we ask Mr. Roberto or another adult, would you say?
Renee, one of the Renees, one of our instructors.
Yeah, he would tell us what we're doing for that day typically. We've been learning framing, plastering, and also learning how to use a miner saw, a nail gun. Then we've been learning how to cut, if we need to cut out a wall and reframe it and measure it correctly.
What did we do last night though?
Last night, we was touring the Wizard Stadium last night.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So that was a break from the trade school, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so they're building all these vaults back there, which are like really expensive and really creative and beautiful suites. Clark Construction's leading that. And through Clark Construction, even what we're doing downstairs, which is building that replica room of what the kids are gonna be building at the Inova Hospital. They've been really great in that. And that's another thing, like the field trips we go on, like, why don't you share some of that? I think it's pretty cool.
My personal favorite field trip was when we went to Metro and we got to see all the behind the scenes and the potential jobs we can have when we turn 18.
Would that be something you'd want to do?
Yes.
And you got to talk to Metro officials? And
Yeah, we saw the whole operation, everything. A lot of the field trips we take them on are our industry partners. One of our most prominent partners is Clark Construction. They provide constant behind the scenes, watch what you've learned at Cornerstone being used on a real job sites kind of experiences.
Yeah.
And we've been on several with them. So like you did come to, I know when we got to go all the way to the top, right? Like where the helipad's gonna be at,
Yes.
as it's being built. Yeah, we
Oh,
toured the
at
whole,
at the hospital?
the one over here, yep. And we got to see all behind the scenes cancer center, everything they were building, thanks to Clark, yeah. They let us come over there and kind of tag along and provide tours for our young people to see the application of the skill sets they're being developed here being used in real time. That way I get to be like, see, pay attention, you know, like it's being used.
There's nothing like it. There's nothing like that. And you mentioned that. I was going to say that that clearly what you're doing here, you're doing it right. And you're growing. You've got a wait list.
Oh yeah, big one. 57 people.
57 now?
57 young people, all the city of Alexandria.
All on a wait list.
Mm-hmm.
But also the names on the doors out there, and there's checks all around this room because people are believing in you and this program.
That's right.
And Clark has come alongside you, and they're providing instructors, right? That'll be downstairs.
Well, not just their instructors. There's a VP down there as well, just who, you know, I mean, we see every level of personnel at Clark Construction involved here. We've had, you know, VPs of government affairs come in here and teach our kids how to tie ties and do mock interviews. We have their subcontractors downstairs right now working with some of our instructors, teaching these kids how to apply plaster and finish the room we're building. So yeah, it's been really something, and people believe in it, not just because of me, and I'm glad that they believe in me. It helps to just be authentically myself and be able to say, look, this could have worked for me. Let me show you why. But also believe in the youth, right? And also believe in the fact that the job market's gonna look very different soon. There's a lot of disruption that's coming from AI, and we're gonna have to figure out what jobs are still left. And the irony behind that is that as these data centers are being built and jobs are being lost, they're also creating a lot of jobs through building. So these opportunities that we're providing for these kids, not only do they not have to go to college for these jobs, not only do these jobs pay livable wages on a sliding scale based upon what locality they're in, but they're super accessible for them to enter as soon as they turn 18. And that in itself is just something that I don't think we talk about enough. And I think we should, because there's ways to get these young people connected to livable wage careers, not just jobs, that'll change their entire bloodlines.
Yeah, and change their entire trajectory.
That's right.
And generational, right?
100%.
Keeps going. So do you call them builders? Do you call them craftsmen? Pre-apprentices. Okay.
Well, when we're with each other, I just call them themselves, the guys, right? When I'm talking to other people about who they are, how we're framing things, the concept is pre-apprentices, right? So like there's this idea that we can start pre-apprenticeship models in a very comprehensive way, just like we've done here successfully, with true impact and outcomes, to start tying young people into these career paths early on in life. Maybe not too early, right? But maybe even at the middle school level, and do what we did here, which is a long-term investment with a high return on investment for the levels of success they can reach behind the opportunities we provide.
It's amazing. And Keon, you said you found out from friends. Do you
Yes.
tell other people about Cornerstone?
Yes, I told a couple people
You
so
have?
far.
Have they come? Are they on the wait list?
I mean, probably. If they've reached out, probably. I mean, yeah. I mean, as unfortunate as it is, all we can do is keep log of those who are interested and hope that we can get to them in time.
But how can you change that? This is your opportunity to share with our audience. How can you change a wait list?
As I mentioned, when I was self-funding this for 3 years, the intent is driven solely on making an impact on young people. So the amount of resources that we provide here, the amount of effort in both staff and volunteer hours is a very difficult thing to do without funding, right? Volunteers is one thing, but you also need operational staff to make sure that these tasks are being handled in an efficient amount of time. I mean, it's very complex to help somebody get set up. I mean, I want you to visualize something. So visualize however you grew up as an individual, and visualize you being 15 years old or whatever your state minimum age requirement is to work. And the parent that you had, how quickly could they have pulled out everything you need to apply for a job, assuming that one of those things was a driver's license for you? Maybe quickly, depending on who you were. Now imagine somebody like myself, where I grew up in a different kind of way, or someone like one of our young people that grew up in a different kind of way, where they're asking the adult in the room to help get these documents, or to help, teach them how to drive or whatever. Or that adult might not even have a vehicle, right? It's very expensive to make up for all of those gaps. You understand? So like the entire comprehensive unique service delivery model that we've done here, which is, I would say, world class, right? Without bragging, is a matter of funding, right? Well, and there's other components too, right? You have to have the right people involved. You have to have people that are mission driven, feel connected to the population we're serving, like myself. But that's primarily it. I mean, this wait list, we could get to it. We could get to it if we only had the support to do that. But nothing's free in this world. And I mean, volunteers are always welcome, and we utilize those nonstop. We have a team of probably over 10 volunteers. But to let more kids in, we're talking about more compensation. We're talking about more meals. We're talking about paying a driver to transport them. We're talking about vehicle maintenance. Like I said, program staff. You met our family engagement specialist, Allie. That's an entire role designed to be a front-facing person to build trust and maintain trust with the youth and their families. Like that kind of stuff is expensive. The whole operation is very expensive.
So we wanted to let people know they can get involved. They can help, but you have had people and you are creating amazing things. You did say to me though, you said this is the year when we figure out if we got it right.
That's right, yeah. So
what does that mean?
Yeah.
And we don't want to go without saying that you got this space because of a very special person.
Oh yeah, St. Donnie Simpson, if you're listening. Donnie Simpson, what's up? Oh, I love that guy. He's a guy who, his family, has been in Alexandria for a very long time, and they owned a construction at one point, and now they're developers. And he donated this space.
Wow.
And with that, I'll tell you this: without the space, even if we were raising more money, I don't know what that would look like.
Oh yeah.
So
I saw all the tools, everything downstairs.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's amazing, and
right.
it's all thanks to Donnie and other folks that wanted to get involved, and like you said, believe in what we're doing, and believe in the power of life-changing opportunities through workforce, right? I think one of the things that we all believe or want to believe is that if a person works hard enough, they can become anything they want in life, right? And I believe that. And I think the trades are a perfect example of what that looks like in today's day and age. So.
And you believe in these young pre-apprentices coming through.
Absolutely. We have some success stories.
Yeah. And you feel that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What's it like?
It's like a relationship with people that I haven't had before, like a family. That's how I feel like.
That's wonderful. And you're really setting yourself up for success.
Yes.
Yes. And just a year away, right?
Not even, probably about
June.
6
Are you
months.
graduating
Less than
in
that, June, right?
May.
In May. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very, very excited for you and all that lies ahead. And of course, you said this is the year we figure out if we got it right.
That's right. So last year, because it's a long-term investment model, and because, like I said, we pour so much resources into the individual, which is why we have a wait list that's so long. this is this long incubator program, right? Like I said, that long-term
right.
investment where there's a lot of unlearning that has to take place for learning to finally take place. And last year we had our first two, what I would say is official success stories. The first two kids who have graduated our program, both of them are employed. One of them actually went into the IBEW, the electrical union. That kid's killing it. He's making a lot of money. He's got a pension, a 401k, full benefits, 18 years old. I mean, came in here dressed in nicer clothes than I have, like showing off, which is pretty cool. But this year we'll be able to see, because that was two kids that graduated over a long period of time. And as I mentioned earlier, we had eventually got up to 14, but now we're at 28 consistently. And this year we have potentially 18 young people that are going to leave us. So we'll be able to see, you know, how successful our methods have been, because here's another thing when we talk about serving young people on the wait list. And before we made an effort to serve more people, I wanted to make sure that the quality of what we've done is able to be maintained prior to rushing into serving more people, right? And making sure everybody gets that same quality experience, AKA that same fair shot at success. So once we see what our success rate looks like with these 18 young people this year, we'll be able to make a strong determination if we only just fill the spots that are vacated by them leaving, or if we fill those spots and then start to let more young people in off our wait list now that we have our like formula, our secret sauce in place.
You've got it. And speaking of secret sauce, that's the perfect way. We always end asking if you could peel back the curtain and you could let people know what's going on here at Cornerstone Craftsman they wouldn't see on the website. What would it be?
It would be not taking the answer no for why we can't do things, and or accepting the status quo in regards to how we have to do things, and really just making sure that our young people, our staff, our board members are all part of the same culture, and that's a culture of change.
We just appreciate the visit and what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
And thank you for watching and for listening. We hope you will watch on YouTube. As we love to say here on the We're Good channel, we really do appreciate you being a part of our community. We're good and you're good, and we can all make a difference.